Hi everybody, Rauderberg69 back with you today in Eurofly 3, which is in beta, which is a flight simulator for blind and low vision people. It's actually an audio game, so there's nothing on the screen. For anybody sighted watching this, there may be a cockpit on the screen, but that's not normally there. I've just put it up for decoration. Normally it's just a dark screen or a light screen, and occasionally you see things happen when menus are up, but that's about it. So I've put something up pretty. So today I'm actually in the Mooney M20J, which is the 4th in the training flights and the last in category 1. So we'll get this flight done today and we'll get in there now.
Training.
Enter Program Manager, Training Dialog, Practice Flights Combo Box, 1.
Okay, so I have a few planes already in the practice flights because I've finished some planes. So we'll just tab across.
Filter Edit. Training Combo Box, Mooney M20J Netherlands Strachton EHDR.
Okay, so we're already at an airport because the last videos I've done, I had to actually choose an airport because I was doing practice flights because I'd already trained for those planes, but I'm on my last training flight in this plane, so I'm already at the airport. So let's get in there. So I'll just press enter on that.
Enter. Euro 90, desktop.
Steering
dashboard.
controls ready.
We'll just wait for all the noise to stop.
Bravo. Bravo.
Okay, that just means I'm facing east onto Bravo, which is the taxiway I use to go out of the main area. But you also heard steering controls ready. Just again, that's because I use an Xbox controller to fly the plane and control things in the air, steer on the ground, things like that. Just makes it easier than using the keyboard for some things. So also I use a voice program to do voice commands called Voice Attack. Again, this program is not very accessible. Once it's set up, you can actually use it to say voice commands to switch through profiles. I have a profile for every plane. They're all different. So you can get it set up, but you will need sighted help. But I'm not here to sell that program. So you'll just hear me doing things, and it actually does the keystrokes for me. So also, I don't tell you the keys unless I know them 100%. If I'm not sure of a key, I won't tell you because I don't want to confuse you anymore. The most important key you'll have is Alt-H for Harry. That gets you into the help, which then you can go through all the keystrokes in there as well. So I always recommend you go in there if you're not sure of something. So okay, let's get started. So we'll get the plane started up into just powered up mode anyway. Start up.
Computer on. Seatbelt fastened. Strobe lights on. Taxi lights on. Cabin lights on. Landing lights on. Radio on. Transponder on.
Primary startup complete. Please connect to nearest tower. Then complete your flight plan. Then complete next checklist using command. Checklist 2. Press 9 for radio frequency.
Again, that voice isn't part of the program. That's part of my command for Voice Attack. I just have it tell me things to do so I don't forget.
9. Combo Box, Strachton Approach Control 132.4.
So we just press 9 to get the tower for where I'm at, which I didn't hear.
Strachton Approach Control 132.4.
Okay.
Escape, edit.
Set radio frequency.
Set frequency, set 1, 3, 2. 134. Strachton Approach Control, edit.
SK839, we welcome you to our airport.
Okay, so this is just the basics. This gets you going. You can't turn any other systems on. Well, you may get 1 or 2 on without starting the engine because you don't only have battery power, so it's only enough to power some things. Once you start the engine, there'll be more system startup, which you will hear shortly. But first thing you should do, check your fuel.
132 liters.
Yep, that's very low. I probably will make it to the airport I'm going to, but I'm not going to risk it. So let's fuel up. And get that started. Refuel now, please.
Control E. Set fuel amount edit. 3.
I'll just work in
900.
300 litres.
300. Enter. Edit.
In the small planes, you fuel them up yourself, so it's all done quickly. But in the category 2 and on, you have to contact the tower. They send out a truck which refuels you, so it does take a little bit of time. So you do other things while you're waiting for the fuel truck to come, like you get your flight plan set up and everything like that. So But rightio, that's the next thing we're going to do, is get our flight plan to the airport we're going to. So of course that is Control F8 to get a list of airports from the closest to the furthest.
Combo box. Netherlands Drachten dash EHDR left paren 0 kilometers right paren.
Okay, so that's where we're at, Drachten, in the Netherlands. I like flying around the Netherlands in these planes because it's very flat, don't run into many hills, don't have to get very high up. So, but we'll find our airport that we're going to.
Netherlands Hojeveen dash EHHO left paren 50 kilometers 59 right 3 minutes right
That one's a
paren.
little bit close.
Netherlands Oostwold dash Airhou left paren 61 kilometers 10 left
There's
4
that
minutes
one.
right. Netherlands Stadskanaal dash EHST left paren 61 kilometers 12. Netherlands Middenmeer dash NL dash 0024 left. Netherlands Texel dash EHTX left paren 87 kilometers behind
That's
6
the one
minutes
we'll
right
go
paren.
through, Texel, whatever it's called. So again, we're going to press spacebar to put this in our computer as our destination. Now, with the computers in these planes, you can only put in one destination. Where in the next larger planes, you can actually have multiple. But for now, we just press spacebar to select that and add it to our computer as destination.
Destination set. Edit.
That actually makes it easier when we're making a flight plan because it's already in our computer. So when we go into the flight plan, that one will be selected as our destination, and we don't have to scroll or search through a long list of airports to set as our destination. So, right, let's radio the tower and get our flight plan done.
Combo box. Enter dash asking for permission to enter the runway. Plan dash I want to create a flight plan.
Okay, so we just arrowed down once. That was F1 to get the tower up.
Enter. Call sign read only edit. SKMTF 839.
Again, that's our call sign. You have to pay attention to that. If other people are in the airport, you may get the wrong radio message. You've got to listen for your number. We'll be doing a tutorial on that later on. So okay, so nothing to do there, so we tab down.
Select destination combo box. Netherlands
Right.
Texel dash EHTX.
As you see, the airport that is my destination is already set. I can scroll through and pick another one if I wanted to, but I'm not going to because that's the one I want. So we just tab to the next thing.
Filter edit.
Filter, which is if you want to search for an airport if you know the name of it. Save you arrowing through hundreds of airports. So let's go to the next one.
Flight description edit.
Flight description, pretty straightforward. Type in there what you want your flight to look like on the world map on the Eurofly website. Other pilots can look and see. They might see you on there and go, oh, what are they doing? So you could put in there your takeoff and your destination with what you're carrying, 35 passengers or whatever. That's up to you. But we'll tab to our next one.
Requesting combo box. Navigated
Okay.
flight.
Requesting. This is up to you. There's only two modes right now: navigated flight and
Direct flight.
direct flight. Now I always go for direct flight at the moment because the navigated flights aren't working, but sometimes they tell you have to do a navigated flight, but you just fly direct anyway. So I've selected direct and I'm going to go to the next
Request
item.
flight button.
Now this is request flight, but when you're actually in the game, you can actually, there's more options. You can choose passengers. You can tick a box to actually choose passengers. So but we'll do this now and get our flight selected. We'll get permission and find out whether we've got a direct flight or a navigated flight.
Enter. Edit.
SK839. Your flight plan has been accepted, but direct flight not permitted. Set transponder to 4890.
Yep, so we weren't allowed a direct flight, so now we would have to actually go into our flight plan and set our waypoints to go to each waypoint independently of the airport and then approach the airport that way. But as I said, that's not working in the game right now, so I'm just going to fly direct anyway. And that other thing that it told me was my transponder number, which you have to put that in so they can track you in the air and know who you are. So if you miss that, you can just press the space bar to hear your last radio message.
Space.
SK839. Your flight plan has been accepted, but direct flight not permitted. Set transponder to 4890.
Set transponder.
Set transponder code 4890. 4890. Enter.
Right,
Edit.
that's that done. Okay, so we're pretty much set up now, ready to fly to the next airport. So we're going to get the plane started now and move on to the next items to get permission for a runway and everything like that. So let's move on and do that now. Because I already know the settings of this plane, I've been flying it. This is my 10th flight, so I know what my flaps and everything are set to, but we'll look at that quickly. I'll get the plane started. Final startup.
Page up, page down, blank.
Temperature control radar on. Stall indication on. TCAS on. Sensor on. Ventilation
Final
on.
startup complete. If you need to collect passengers, use the command. Passenger checklist. If no passengers, use command, taxi checklist, or takeoff procedure. Now please set cabin temperature.
Set temperature. Set temperature combo box. 18, 19, 20, 21. Enter.
Temperature
Edit.
set.
And that temperature doesn't come up automatically, you have to set that yourself. It's just part of my routine and my command for voice attack. But if you were paying attention, you would have noticed the last thing it turned on was ventilation. This is the first plane that's had ventilation. All the other three that I've done, the earlier three, did not have ventilation. That's why you have to do the old H for Harry and go through and do your checklist so you need to see what new items you need to turn on. Because most planes have the same stuff, but as you get further up the list, they get new things. So this one has ventilation, the previous ones didn't. So rightio. So just quickly, I'll open up my plane properties and just go through some things with you. So, but as you saw, I couldn't turn all that stuff on until the engine was started, until I had the extra power. The battery just didn't have enough power to turn all that on. So let's press Control Enter.
Control Enter. Combo
And bring
box.
up my
Pilot
pilot,
Roderberg
so
69 left. Paren
This
1
is
right.
my plane
Paren.
properties again.
SKMT F839
I'll just show you the
training flight.
stall and speeds and flaps and everything.
Mooney M transport certified condition last system. Number of seats, number of passenger, wingspan, length, 8 bass, weight, current weight, cruising speed, maximum cruising, flap positions, 0/3.
It's got 3 flap positions. That changes in the bigger planes.
Bass takeoff speed, 107 kmph.
107 to take off. This is a really small, fast plane.
Bass landing speed, 107 kmph.
107 to land.
Stall speed, 117 kmph.
Stall speed's 117. So it's obviously a very aerodynamic plane, this one.
Current takeoff speed, 107 k at nose angle when taking off, 6-9-13.
There's our takeoff angles again, but 90% of the time I'm taking off at 10 degrees by shift and down arrow 1.
Minimum flap position when taking off, 1.
Minimum flaps of 1 for takeoff.
Minimum takeoff runway length, 381 meters.
You only need 381 meters to take off, which is really short. So this plane can basically take off anywhere, even in the small fields that we were using in the Cessna.
Current landing speed, 107 kmph. Minimum flap position when landing, 2.
So we only need flaps 2 when landing. I usually use flaps 3. I don't know why. I just choose to because I get down to a lower speed.
Minimum landing runway length, 472 meters.
And you need 472 meters to land. So it will just land in one of those fields from the Cessna at their 500 by 500. So it's pushing it, but you should be able to make it in if you land really quickly.
Fuel tank capacity, 2,998 liters.
That's all for that.
Combo box, logbook, combo box, technical data.
Again, we've got the technical data,
Stall
which
speeds
you can check your stall speeds quickly so you don't have to scroll through all
Flaps
that
0,
stuff.
117 kmph.
117.
Flaps 1, 107 kmph.
107, so flaps 1, that's our takeoff speed and our landing speed, but when you're landing they want you to have a bit more leeway.
Flaps 2, 97 kmph.
So you get 97
Flaps 3, 92 kmph.
and 92, which I land on flaps 3, so I get down to about 94 kilometers an hour before I choke off the engines at that speed. So I'll just go back quickly to my
Combo
logs.
box, logbook.
This is my logbook for this plane, so this tells you how many hours you've flown in this plane and all the juicy details about your crashes and stuff. You can't hide them. So let's just quickly go through this, and you can see that I'm actually on my last flight and I've had no crashes or anything like that.
Flown 1,194 kilometers.
So again, in all the category 1 planes you must do a minimum of 1,000 kilometers, and I've done more than that.
1,194 kilometers without crashing. 2 hours, 59 minutes.
So I've flown for a total of 2 hours 59 minutes in this plane.
2 hours, 59 minutes without crashing.
That's good.
9 takeoffs.
I've had 9 takeoffs.
9 takeoffs without crashing.
None without
9
crashing.
landings.
9 landings.
9 landings without crashing.
None
0
without
fatal
crashing.
stalls. 0 consecutive fatal stalls. 0 minor crashes. 0 fatal crashes. 0 repairs.
That's all good. So, but as I said, this is my last flight in this plane, so we'll move on. So that's how you check all that information. Now just quickly, I'll
Combo
go back
box,
to the
flight
plan, and we'll see if it's actually giving me the waypoints. So this is where you find out what waypoints you have to go to. Sometimes it tells you it's a navigated flight, but sometimes it's a direct flight anyway.
Starting airport Dresden HDR left Netherlands right Destination airport Texel HTX left Netherlands right Backup destination airport Middenmeer NL
Tells you
0024
backup
left
airport,
Netherlands
just in
right
case you've got to land there. I'm sure that's going to come into the game eventually where you might have to defer to your backup airport, but right now you don't need to.
Flight not monitored by National Air Traffic Control.
It says it's not monitored.
Direct flight. Planned flyover areas
See, it actually says it's a direct flight, so
Direct flight.
even though it told me I couldn't, but it has marked as that. Again, the game's in beta, so you've got to expect these sorts of things. Alright, so we'll get out of there.
Escape. Edit.
And we'll get permission to take off. I'm not going to go through the Alt-H menu today. I just want this as a quick one. I'm going to just get permission for my runway and we'll get underway. So F1 to contact the radio tower.
Combo box. Enter dash asking for permission to enter the runway.
Nope, we
Plan
don't
dash
need
I want to
that
change
yet.
the flight. Repair dash I need repair. Runway dash asking for
Okay,
runway
we're
assignment.
going to ask for our runway to find out what runway we're taking off on. Every plane above the Cessna, which is the first training flight, needs to take off on runways, unless you've landed at a small airport, of course, which doesn't happen.
Enter. Edit.
SK839. You've been assigned runway 07. You can taxi.
Okay, so we've been given runway 07. I'm not even sure what this airport has, so I think this has only got one runway, so we press Shift Enter to find out where we've got a taxi to.
Shift enter. Combo box. Pilot Roderberg 69 left 1 right SKMT Mooney M20J EHDR-Stratton. Public without maintenance services. Height above sea level 0 meter. Difficulty: 1. Approach control: 132.4.
This is where you get your approach control for your airports.
Airport description:
And here's the
runways
description.
1.
So it only has one runway.
Runway 0725 left 729 meters right
So runway 0725. So again, add a 0 and that's your landing angle and your takeoff angle. So I've got runway 07, so that means we'll be taking off at 70 degrees. So let's find out where we have to taxi to.
Entrance 07 Bravo Tango 200 100.
Okay, so we've got to go along Bravo, turn onto Tango, which usually when you're travelling along Bravo, you turn left onto the taxiways and the runways. That's only if the runways are off Bravo. This runway isn't. It obviously runs along the side of Bravo. So we're going to turn left onto Tango and then turn right at 70 degrees onto the runway. So again, Bravo runs east-west. So you actually travel along Bravo from the main area to the east, where Alpha runs out of the main area at the west. So we're going to go out to the east. We're going to turn left onto Tango, which goes north-south, and then we'll turn right onto the runway. So
entrance 25 Bravo Victor 451 790.
Yep. So it gives you the coordinates of where the end of the runway is as well.
Entrance
so,
07 Bravo Tango 200 100.
So ours is at 200, 100, and we're currently at
53 parking in front of the hangar.
53.
Minus 56 parking in front of the hangar.
Minus 56. So we're outside of the field. So
entrance 25 surface con.
Concrete runway.
Hangar southwest.
And the hangar is in the southwest. So that's just so you know where to go. All right. So we know where we're going, and it's not far out. So I'm not going to speed up too much, and we're going to turn on the taxiway. So as I'm getting out there, I'll get permission to enter the runway because I don't like stopping once I'm flying. Then when I get onto the runway, I'll stop and set up the takeoff. So let's get going. Park brake off.
Parking brakes off.
Always remember to turn that off, otherwise you can't move. So let's start moving, and then I'll choke the engine off at a low speed.
3, 5, 7, 9.
Bravo.
Choke off there. 13.
That's fast enough. Right, we're on Bravo.
53 Bravo.
We're close to it, so we're going to go along the runway until we hear Tango on our left.
Minus 12 Bravo. Minus 7 Bravo.
There should be Tango. Wait till we hear it.
Tango.
Right, let's turn left.
79, 70.
So we'll go to
58,
0,
49,
which is
40,
north.
29, 20, 10,
Tango.
0.
Right, I'll get permission
Combo
to enter the
box.
runway.
Enter dash asking
Tango.
SK839. You're permitted to enter the runway.
Tango.
See, we haven't actually hit Tango yet. There we are, we're on Tango now.
107 Tango. 111 Tango.
As you can hear, it's
116
going up
Tango.
in the
122
meters,
Tango.
and we're going to 200 and something. So we're close to the
31
runway
Tango.
now. And then we're going to turn right 70 degrees, so 07. Right, there's the runway. Off to our right.
07.
Right, we'll turn onto
10,
that at 70
20,
degrees.
30, 42,
07.
52, 60, 71, 73, 72,
07.
71, 71, 71, 71,
07.
69, 70.
Right, we're at 70, so as soon as we enter the runway,
07.
we'll cut the engines off and stop.
07.
While it's saying that and beeping, you're not on the runway.
07.
Runway
70.
0725.
Throttle preset 0.
Right. Hit the
6,
right,
0.
and we're now stopped. We're on the runway.
204 runway 0725. 110 runway 0725.
So you know you're on the runway. And again, the buttons you press to check where you are, which you'll have to do Alt-H to find them out. If you double press the longitude or the north-south, that will give you the length of the runway.
723 meters.
So it's 723 meters to the other end of the runway,
110 meters.
and I'm 10 meters onto the runway. I press the latitude. You just double press those buttons. One press tells you your location,
204 runway 0725. 110 runway 0725.
and double press tells you the distance left ahead of you
723 meters.
and
110
behind
meters.
you. Okay, so
70.
I'm facing 70 degrees. Right, so let's get this plane set up for takeoff, so we need to set the flaps. Set the flaps.
Set flap
Now I
position.
know
Set
they
flap
need to
position,
be
edit.
set to 1 for
1.
takeoff,
Enter. Edit.
Flaps set.
so that's all set. Now we'll get permission to take off. You don't take off without getting permission from the tower. So F1,
Combo box. Enter dash asking for plan dash I want to change the flight repair dash I need repair runway dash asking for runway takeoff dash asking for takeoff clearance.
and then we
Enter.
press,
Edit.
SK839. You are cleared to take off.
and we're cleared for takeoff. So again, what I do is I check my direction.
70.
So I'm facing 70, which is runway 07. I check my speed with R,
R. 0 flaps at 1.
which tells me what my flaps are set as well, because if your flaps aren't set, you won't take off very well.
0 flaps at 1.
So we're 0 flaps at 1, and I just double check my fuel.
432 liters.
Plenty of fuel, because we're only going 87 kilometers. And you can check the weather, but you have to set up the weather API, which is quite easy if you follow the instructions. But we're not doing anything on that, but I'll check the weather
W.
with W.
Overcast clouds temperature 10 pressure 1009 humidity 75 southeast wind 6 meters per second.
It's overcast, which that's the real weather for where I'm currently located, because it's getting it from a real weather site, which that's what they're trying to do in the game, is use the real weather. So rightio, we're going to take off now. We've got permission, we're
70.
ready to go.
0 flaps at 1.
Everything's set, and basically again I just do a command with my voice attack to get to the full throttle. I then go down the runway checking my speed. Once I get to my takeoff speed, which in this plane's 107, I then press the shift key and hold it, and press down once on the arrow, down arrow, which will set my takeoff angle to 10 degrees, and then off I'll go. You can do it differently if you want. It's totally up to you. You can press the down arrow multiple times with not pressing the shift, but whatever you do, don't go over the 13 degrees or under. I think it was 4 degrees, because you won't take off or you'll crash. If you go over, you will crash. And if you don't, if you go under, you'll just fly off the end of the runway and crash into the field or whatever's at the other end. So rightio, let's get off the ground and get started. So full throttle.
Throttle preset 5. 2 flaps at 1.
Right, just keep checking our speed.
R. 20 flaps at 1.
Finger on the shift key, finger on the down arrow.
R. 65 flaps at 1. 89 flaps at 1. 103 flaps at 1. R. 117 flaps at 1.
Go. Now I'll do my other commands to turn off my landing lights and bring up the landing gear.
Takeoff
Flight mode.
successful. Landing lights off. Taxi lights off.
Flight mode is set on.
Set flap position. Set flap position edit.
Out of airport.
Dash.
Raised.
SK839.
Nine.
Climb to
Zero.
altitude 70.
I'm not going to fly them as high as he
set.
says, because I'm in the Netherlands, but you probably should follow their instructions. And now we're just going to find out what our direction is.
160 left at 270.
I've got more to explain.
160
Right,
left at
So
270.
we've got to turn to 270. So this plane has auto course. Set the course.
Set course. Set 2. 7. 9. 9. 0. 270, comma.
So I'm going to 270 and I'm setting my bank angle.
25,
I'll
54,
explain that in a
39, 20,
minute.
57, 300, 300, 300,
Just
200,
want to get
200,
approaching this
270.
airport. Right.
One left at 269.
Set course.
Set course 2, 5, 5, 6, 9,
I
269.
took too long to turn, so
dead ahead at
it moved off a
269,
little bit.
89 kilometers, Texel 11 minutes.
Okay. So basically what I did there was I
406, 270 above ground.
got off the ground, I turned off my landing lights, turned off my taxi lights and everything, and pulled the landing gear off. This plane has landing gear, so you've got to retract it and make sure you put it back down before you land. So very important, you can't land without landing gear. I then checked my course. There is a button for that. I use it on the controller, which is my
Dead
A
ahead at
button by
269.
default.
Dead ahead at 269.
And that told me I had to turn to 270 degrees, which I then set with my auto course. There's a button for that, auto course, so look that up in Alt H. I then typed in the degrees I wanted to go to, which was 270. I put a comma and then 25 because I wanted to bank at 25 degrees to turn really quickly, because it was a 160 degree turn I had to do. These planes turn really quickly. You'll notice in the bigger planes it takes a lot longer to turn. So just explaining what I did there, so you understood what was going on. So now I'm going to get the radio frequency of the next airport because I want to be ready to connect to that as soon as I'm in range. So to get your destination airport is Alt Enter. When you're at an airport, it's Shift Enter, but your destination that you've set in your destination point is Alt Enter.
Alt Enter. Combo box. Pilot Roderberg
So
16
I'll just arrow
SKMT
down.
Mooney M20J left. EHTX dash text public without maintenance service. Height above sea dash left difficulty colon 1. Approach control colon 119.3.
119.3, so I'll set that.
Escape.
Set radio frequency. Set radio frequency.
Set frequency 119. 119. Period 3. Enter. Edit.
Right, it won't talk to me because I'm out of range. My range is 45 kilometres, I've set that.
74 kilometers. Texel 9
And
minutes.
We're still 74 kilometres away. So okay, so now again like normal, what we do is we start researching our airport that we're going to so we know what to expect there. So again, we press Alt Enter to bring up the airport.
Alt Enter. Combo box. Pilot
And the
Roderberg
first thing we
69
want to
left,
do is
Paren 1
see
right
how many
paren.
runways there are so we can expect where we're going to be landing.
SKM Mooney M20 EHTX public without make height above sea difficulty colon approach control. Airport description colon.
Okay, so we get the airport description.
Runways 2.
Right, there's 2 runways.
Runway 0321 left paren 1108 meters right paren.
So that's 0321, so that's landing at 30 degrees, and the opposite end is 210, and it's 1,000 metres long. So it's a nice long runway, and the next part is where you taxi off
Entrance
at,
03 colon alpha dash 150.
which we don't need to know that until we're actually taxiing on or off.
Entrance 21 colon alpha Romeo echo dash 1000 surface colon grass.
And that's a grass runway, just so you know.
Runway 1230 left paren 622 meters right paren.
Okay, so 1230, it's 600 and
Surface runway 1230 left paren 622 meters right paren.
622, so we can land on that one as well. So we could get either of these runways.
Entrance 12 colon alpha entrance 30 surface colon grass.
And it's a grass
Hangar
runway
southeast.
as well, and the hangar is southeast, so that means the taxiway will be
Surface colon
alpha.
grass. Entrance 30 colon alpha delta foxtrot
Yep,
Yankee
so
dash
alpha
408
is the runway here,
1500.
because you always check so you know when you're landing which way you've got to go off on the taxiways. Once you understand the taxiways, you will know exactly where you've got to go when you get off. I'm not going to go into that now, but okay, so we'll tab over to the descent page.
Combo box. Descent map.
Now this is your descent map. You want to know what your things are, like we're
60 kilometers Texel 7 minutes.
60 kilometres away, so
Height above sea dash with same altitude safe circle to 0.7 kilometers.
now this is one of the important ones, the same altitude safe circle. So that means at 2.7 kilometres out, you're at the same altitude as the airport. So it's pretty safe to land here. Like I said, Netherlands is great. I would really recommend training around here. The only problem is in one of the planes you only get 2 airports that are nearby. But anyway, so that's the same altitude. So we'll go to 2 kilometres out.
2 kilometers safe altitude 5 meters which is 5 meters above ground.
And it's 5 metres, so these are all at sea level, these airports, so
5 kilometers safe altitude 6 meters which is 6 meters above ground.
they're
10
all,
kilometers safe altitude 8 meters which is 8 meters above ground.
yeah, they're all
15
close.
kilometers safe altitude 8 meters which is 8 meters
Now
above
you
ground.
see why I like flying around
20
here.
kilometers safe altitude 8 meters which is 8 meters
Yep,
above ground.
no, they're all really close to the ground. You can be right down, but I don't. I still do the same sequence. I don't go below 100 meters until I'm within 1.5 kilometers of the airport, and then I'll go down to about 60 meters, and then I go into the airport when I get to 0.3, about 300 meters out. That's when I go down to below. So all right, that airport's
Escape.
pretty safe. Now all I'll do now
269. Dead ahead at 269. 480.
is keep flying now. That's
480.
480 is my current speed. As I said, this is a really fast small plane.
269.
269 is my current angle.
Dead ahead at 269.
We're dead ahead, so that means the airport's straight in front of me. It's 269 degrees.
47 kilometers. Texel 5 minutes.
And we've got 5 minutes and 47 kilometres. The radio tower will be contacting me very soon when I get within 45.
274 above ground.
We're 274 above ground and
273.
273 above sea level. As I said, this Netherlands is all
Text
at sea
control.
level.
SK839, welcome to our airspace.
Now, they've contacted us, so I'll now contact him back and get a runway assignment, so I know exactly where I've got to go to line up. You get that as soon as you can.
Combo box. Rate dash abort land dash asking for runway dash asking for runway.
Okay.
Center. Edit.
SK839, you've been assigned runway 21.
Okay, so we've been assigned runway 21, which is 210 degrees. So I'm going to press Alt Enter to get that airport.
Alt enter. Combo box.
Which is my
Pilot Rotterdam
destination.
69 left.
I'm going to
combo
tab
box. Descent
twice
map. Combo box. Waypoints.
and get to the waypoints, and I'm going to scroll down until I get to runway 21.
3A left. 3B left. 12A left. 12B left. 21A left. 21B left.
And I want to do
38 kilometers, 6 right,
21B,
right,
which is the waypoint for the end of the runway. It's about 5 kilometers
destination
away.
set.
So
Nordsee.
Escape.
sets
Edit.
that, I escape out, and then I check my angle.
6 right at 275.
So I've got to turn to 275. Set course.
Set course 2 6 6 6 4 4 6 6 6
Ah.
6 6 7 5 2
Sorry
207.
about that. Right,
Dead ahead at 275.
now we're heading to,
33 kilometers 21B 4 minutes.
so we've turned away from the airport. We don't have that set as our destination anymore.
32 kilometers 21B 3 minutes.
We're heading to 21B now, which there's only, in the small airports, there's only 2 waypoints, A and B. A is about 2.5 kilometres away, B is about 5 kilometres away. And what I do is I head to B, then I will turn away from the airport, go out about another 5 or 6 kilometres, then I'll turn around and come back. So I go out to about 11 kilometres away from the airport, turn around and come back directly in line with it, and then I set up for the landing. I've just found that the quickest way. But if I'm close enough to being on the angle that I need, I sometimes will go around out from the airport to get to that angle.
26 kilometers 21B 3 minutes. 1 right at 276.
It's moved a little bit. I'll try and turn
1
to
right at
that manually.
276. 1 right at 276. 1 left at 276. 1 left at 275. 1 right at 275.
Set course.
Set course 2 6 6 7 5 275.
Sometimes it's quicker
Edit.
just to do it that
24
way.
kilometers 21B 2 minutes.
So yeah, and then once I get out to the distance from the airport that I want to turn around at, I get permission to approach, and then once I get into a certain range, I decelerate the engine to 0, so I set it to idle, and then start setting up the landing and get my wheels down and get the flap set. Then I'll choke the engines off at just above my stall speed, which I'm going to turn off my stall speed warning because it scares the bejesus out of you. So that is Control, Shift and
Control
E.
and
Indication off.
But it's very, if you can leave that on, you do. It's just, this is how I land these
18
planes.
kilometers 21B to 480. 275. 273 above ground.
Okay, so everything's going nicely right now. You don't really need to do anything, just pay attention. The airport's probably just off to our right.
17 kilometers 21B 2 minutes.
Nearest object,
449 kilometers vertical bar
No,
yield dash
long way
stop
away
bridge
from us.
326 meters vertical bar 56 minutes.
safe altitude.
20 kilometers safe altitude 8 meters which is 8 meters above ground
Yeah,
dash
we're
taxi
fine.
273 above ground.
We're 273. We'll start decreasing our altitude once we're approaching the airport.
14 kilometers 21B 1 minutes.
So again, what I do is I know that the opposite end of this runway is 03. So when I get to this waypoint, I'm going to turn to 30 degrees and head directly away from the airport. So 30 degrees is totally the opposite to 210, which is 21. So that's how I do it. You can do it however you like. If you want to slowly move around to circle around the airport to get to it, feel free to do it that way. I just find this is the quickest way to do it.
9.0 kilometers, 21B, 1 minutes.
Okay, so we'll start getting ready for this. I'm going to punch it into my auto course.
1 right at 276.
It's only one right, that's fine. So we're going to go to 30 degrees, set the course,
Set course 3990.
and I want to turn pretty sharply, so
30, comma 2 5.
so we'll do that.
5.7 kilometers.
And then when I get
21B,
to
0 minutes.
about, within half a kilometre of the turn, I'll then press enter and turn. But if you don't have a control, you can't do anything else right now while that's punched in. So make sure you don't need to turn or anything
3
like
right at
that.
278.
See where it's 3 right, but that's fine.
3.1 kilometers, 21B, 0 minutes. 3 right at 278.
It'll keep going out, but we'll still hear it when we hit that waypoint.
2.2 kilometers, 21B, 0 minutes.
Yeah,
1.9
nice.
kilometers, 21B, 0 minutes.
That was us just coming off the ocean and over land again.
1.3 kilometers, 21B, 0 minutes. 1.0 kilometers, 21B,
Okay,
0.9
just keep
kilometers,
checking
21B,
now.
0.7 kilometers, 0.6 kilometers, 0.4 kilometers, 0.22,
Destination reached.
308, 620, 30.
Now I set my airport back as the waypoint, as a destination, because it's still set at that. So I press Control F8.
Combo box. Netherlands Texel dash EHTX
That's my
left.
airport. Press
Destination
spacebar.
set. Edit.
It's set as a destination.
6.6 kilometers, Texel 0 minutes.
Now it's
Behind the 210.
behind us,
7.3 kilometers, Texel
and
0
we're going
minutes.
away from the airport now,
7.7 kilometers, Texel 0 minutes.
which is fine. That's what I want to do.
Behind the 230.
So I'm facing 30 degrees.
Behind the 210.
It's behind at 210, which is exactly the runway behind us. So we're landing on 210, which is runway 21. So that's good. But when we turn around, we won't be exactly back in line with it. We'll have to move off a little bit just to line up with it again.
11 kilometers, Texel 1 minutes.
Right, let's get permission to land, to
Netherlands
approach.
provision.
Combo
Your
box. Approach dash asking for approach clearance. Enter. Edit.
SK839. You can begin approach.
Okay, so we're allowed to begin
12
approach.
kilometers, Texel 1
We're
minutes.
12 kilometres out, so I'll set the course back there. Set course.
Set course 3, 2, 2,
Whoop.
3, blank, 2, 1, 8, 8, 0.
And we want to do a
210,
sharp
comma,
turn
2, 5.
and press
35,
enter.
300, 80, 200, 200, 200, 200, 210.
Right, we're back to the
1 left at
210,
209.
but it's 1 left, so we're just going to
6 right at 209.
go off, set course.
Set 2, 1, 8, 8, 0.
I'll explain
6
that in a
right at
second.
209. 6 right at 209.
See, we're facing 6
7
degrees
right at
away.
210.
Right,
10.
we're back in
Enter.
line.
Edit. 210. Dead ahead at 210.
It's dead ahead.
11 kilometers, Texel 1 minute.
We're 11 kilometres out. So what I did there was, because I was 1 degree off, I turned to the left 6 degrees off to the, so it was 6 degrees off to my right, and then it came back in line, and then I lined back up with it. As soon as it said it was 7 right at 210.
8.6 kilometers, Texel
Right,
1 minute.
let's cut the engines
Throttle preset 0.
and let's start getting ready to land. So we get permission
Combo
to land
box.
now.
Approach brake dash land dash runway dash asking. Land dash asking for landing.
There we
clearance.
go.
Edit. 6.9
SK839.
kilometers,
Landing
Texel 1
clearance
minutes.
granted.
343.
Keep
332.
checking your speed.
321. 273 above ground.
We'll go
200,
down a bit
200,
while we're
295.
calm
215
down.
above ground.
Landing mode.
160 above ground.
Taxi
138
lights
above
on.
ground.
Landing
Your landing
lights
lights and
on.
taxi lights are now on.
5.6
Please keep
left at
preparing for
209.
landing. When you are at almost landing speed,
Going off a
4 right
bit.
at
flaps to
209.
optimal
4
landing
right at
setting.
209.
And make sure your landing gear is
Set
down.
course.
Set course 21990.
Got to keep eyes on it.
5 right at 210. 210. 197. 210.
Right. Set the flaps. Set the flaps.
Set flap position.
Europe,
Set flap
Netherlands,
position
province,
3.
New Holland.
Enter. Edit.
Yeah, this is where it gets all
4.2
stressful.
kilometers, Texel 1
Now we'll
minute. Dead ahead
connect
at
to
210. Dead ahead at
ILS. We're dead
210.
ahead at 210. Runway list.
Combo box 21. Enter. Edit.
Right.
209.9 miles.
Well, ILS is set, so just as long as we don't touch our
130 flaps at 3.
stick, our move left right, it'll stay locked. So don't touch that unless you want to unlock it.
3.5 kilometers, Texel 1 minutes.
Coming
113
in
flaps at 3.
nicely. Now we've got to choke off the engines when
108
we get
flaps
to
at
about
3.
94
105
kilometres
flaps
now.
at 3.
So I've got to pay attention to this.
101 flaps at 100 flaps at 3. 98 flaps at 97 flaps 96 95 choked off 94 flaps at 3.
There we go, we're choked off. Now the engine's going to speed back up and we're going to stay at that speed.
139 above ground. 139 above ground.
Just making sure
3.0
we're
kilometer. 2.9 kilometers.
staying
Texel
at
1
the
minutes.
altitude,
209.8 miles. 139 above ground.
which is fine. We'll come down when we get a bit
94 flaps
closer.
at 3. Dead ahead at 210.
Everything's fine. Just keep checking everything.
209.8 aisles.
Keep checking that you're connected to ILS.
209.8 aisles.
So that tells you your angle and that you're connected to ILS.
94 flaps at
It says
3.
aisles, but
94 flaps at 3.
and just check and make sure your speed's staying the same.
2.3 kilometers, Texel 1 minute.
Right, so now we've just got to cruise in. Our flaps are set at 3, so that's why we're slowing down so slow. We'll land, go to the taxiway, go to the finish area and get our report.
2.0 kilometers, Texel 1 minute.
So it's nice and slow to come in once you get set up. But it's a little bit stressful as you're coming in. I was making sure everything was working and getting everything set.
209.8 aisles. 1.7 kilometers, Texel 1 minute.
Okay, at 1.5 I'll head
1.6
down.
kilometers, Texel 1. 1.6 kilometers, Tex 1.5 kilometers, Texel
Right,
0.
let's
138, 130,
head down to
100,
about 60
120,
meters.
108, 112 above ground. 99 above ground. 92 above ground. 83 above ground. 77 above ground. 68 above ground. 61 above ground.
That'll do.
1.2 kilometers, Texel 0
Now when I
minutes.
get to about 300 metres out, 0.3, I will head down to between 10 and 20 metres for landing height. And then once I hear the runway sound, the long beep, I will then stall my engine, set it to idle, and then the plane will stall and we'll land nice and smooth.
94 flaps at 3.
Fingers crossed.
0.7 kilometers, Texel 0 dead ahead at 210. 0.209.7 miles. 0.5
everything's
kilometers,
good.
Texel 0.5 kilometers, Texel
Just
0
keep
minutes.
checking.
0.4 kilometers, Texel 0 minutes. 0.4 kilometers, 0.4 kilometers, 0.3 kilometers, Texel 0
Rightio,
minutes.
down we
60
go.
above ground, 55 above ground, 47 above ground, 40 above ground, 33 above ground, 25 above ground,
Airport.
22, 20 above ground, 18 above, 17, 15 above ground, 15
There we
above
go.
ground.
Now we wait for the runway sound. Now this is the really long runway, so when I land I'm just going to choke the engines off and taxi down the
Runway
runway.
2103.
There we go, set the throttle to 0,
Landing successful.
and we're on the ground.
978 meters. 62
our
flaps at
speed.
57 flaps at 54 flaps at 3. Choked off 49 flaps at 3.
We'll choke it off at a high speed
886
because
meters.
it's got 800 metres to go.
210.
So it's a long runway, you don't even have to hit the brakes in this plane.
786 meters.
Still got 786 metres to go.
Destination dash Texel.
We made it.
702 meters.
I just keep checking my meters so I can, when I get to about 250 metres, I'll cut the engines again, slow down some more because you don't want to turn at this speed. If I turned full lock at this speed, I'd crash because there's a new implementation of speed and turning.
459 meters. 383 370 meters.
Alright, we've got 370
49
to
flaps at
go.
329 meters. 313 meters. 294 meters. 207
Okay,
throttle
we'll
preset
cut
0.
the engines. I'll set the flaps to 0. Set the flaps.
Set flap 9. 9, 9, 9, 0. Enter. Edit 14 flaps at 11. Choke off
Ooh,
dash
don't
throttle
want to
preset
slow
1.
down that much. I'll speed
Flaps
back up a
set.
little bit. These planes slow
12,
down really
14,
quickly.
16, 18, 20. Choked off dash 22.
20 is a
22
good
to
speed.
159 meters.
Now,
To 144 meters.
I believe we're heading straight for Alpha. I'm not going to check, but you can, as you're coming down the runway, just go into the airport properties and check where you're going to taxi off. So I landed on
Alpha.
21, so we taxiing off at 03.
Alpha.
So you check the opposite end of the runway where you're going to taxi off.
Alpha.
143 meters.
So I'm going to turn left onto Alpha and head
Alpha.
for 90 degrees, which is east
Alpha.
17 meters.
to the main area.
153
Right,
meters.
let's
110.
turn left.
100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 130, 120. 109, 98, 87,
03.
90, 89, 91,
03.
92, 89, 88,
It's a
89,
bit tricky to get
90
these
east.
little... Right, there we go.
695 meters.
Right, it's a long way to the end, if you heard.
6,874 meters.
It's 800 metres, so I'm going to speed up.
25,
just to get down here
26,
quicker.
28, 32, 34, 38, 41. Choked off 47.
There we go, we'll speed up again.
67 alpha.
We've got a long way to go.
770 meters. 758 meters.
So if it's a long way, you can speed up. Don't panic too much because you're going in a straight line.
East. 368, 659 meters.
Still got 659, and I'll just do the same again. I'll get down to about 200 metres, and then I'll cut the engine, slow down to about 20, and then cruise on into the main area.
525 meters. 497 meters. 47.
Just saves a bit of time. Otherwise, it takes us double the time to get down here.
435 meters. 47. 47.
Because some of the taxiways in the bigger airports are kilometres long.
354 meters. 340 meters. 321 meters.
That's just
Romeo.
Romeo off to our left.
259 meters.
Romeo.
67 alpha.
All right.
Throttle preset
Cut the
Z44.
engines.
40.
Slow down
37,
to about
35,
20.
33. 30. 28,
That should be
26,
Delta.
23,
Delta.
21, night choked off 18,
There we go.
Delta.
They're just to get to the other runway.
Delta.
So Romeo would have taken us up to the other end to
Delta.
21, and Delta takes us to the other
Delta.
runway, which obviously
East.
runs a different direction.
6, 129,
Delta.
18.
Okay, we're past that. Now let's get to the main area and then we'll stop, and then that'll be the end of the flight, and that'll be the end of my training in
Parking.
the Mooney.
67,
Right,
parking in front of
up
the
the
hand throttle
engines.
reset 0.
Hangar. Hangar. Hangar.
Flight
There we go.
completed. You have gained the qualification for a
Hangar.
new plane.
Yay, I've got the qualification for a new
Hangar.
plane. So this is a little bit different. It's going to
Hangar.
ask me
Airport
where...
selection dialog. Select an airport combo box.
Okay.
Abu Dhabi left, Parano
It's
MAA
now
right
asking me where I want to put this plane, because when you finish the training, you get this plane. They give it to you as a plane to use for yourself. I don't know. I don't think you own it, but they allow you to use it. So it's asking you where you'd like to put it. So I'm Australian, and I want to put my plane somewhere around Australia. I just like doing that. I don't know why. You can put them anywhere in the world. So Australia's a little bit different. It's actually got states. Doesn't say Australia first.
Saudi Arabia.
I've got to go
Scotland,
to ST.
Slovakia, Gillingham,
Just
Slovenia,
arrowing really quickly.
South Africa,
here.
Portugal, South Africa, South Korea, South Sudan, South Spain, America, Spain, Barcelona,
I don't know
Spain,
where I'm going to
Spain,
put this
Burgos,
one.
Spain,
Somewhere in
Spain,
Australia.
Spain, State of New South Wales,
There we
Newcastle,
go.
State of New South Wales, Cost, State of New South Wales, Albury, left, paren, MA, right, paren, State of New South Wales, Coffs Harbour, left, paren, YCFS,
We'll put
right,
this one
paren.
in Coffs Harbour. It's in New South Wales, so I'll just press enter now, and then that's going to be it. It's going to dump us out. I won't even get a report for this flight, so I'm just not going to press that yet. So yeah, basically that's the M20J, and you will be your fourth plane in the series. So I'm just going to press enter, and that'll probably take us out to the main menu. So we'll have music and stuff as well. I hope it's not too loud because I haven't quite finished yet.
Enter, dashboard.
Training.
Eurofly 3-Roderberg 69. Eurofly
There we go.
3-Roderberg 69.
Okay, so we're back in it just finishes you now. When I go back in now, I'll have my new qualification for my new plane, which is the first of the class 2, which I believe is the Saab, which is a twin prop turboprop plane. It's very interesting from now on. Get lots of new stuff to turn on. So that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm Roderberg69. I'm part of the Blind Gaming Club. We're a group of people that play lots of accessible games. Any games that we can find that are accessible, we try and play them. So I'll put a link in the description to our website, and you can go and check us out. But alright, that's it for this one. Thank you very much for watching.